Bernie Sanders, up 8, Fox News poll. Now, there are several polls that I want to talk about, 3 in particular. Sanders does well in 2. The last one is somewhat dodgy, so I'm discounting, but I am making it available because mainstream media, for the most part, is focused on that dodgy poll that was from an Obama pollster that apparently used some kind of weird method of divining the answers. I don't know what that weird method is. I would rather just stick with the standard polling methodology, since for the most part, if we're getting on the scale, let's just make sure the scale is even across the board. So let's talk about Sanders surging in the polls. And it's not just Sanders surging, by the way. There's an interesting dynamic that is flipped in the Fox News poll that is fucking fascinating, and that will work to Sanders' benefit and to Biden's detriment. Welcome to the Soapbox After Dark, or you could say early morning soapbox. My name is Jamarl Thomas. This is the Progressive Soapbox. Guys, if you dig this content, you find yourself coming back to this channel often, like, share, subscribe, and of course, you can always support PayPal or Patreon. These videos get demonetized pretty much constantly, so this content is brought to you by you. This video is not going to be long. It's just kind of a polling update. I like to keep my finger on the pulse of the polls. So let's do this one first. This one, Bullock Castro. Now, for whatever reason, mainstream media thought it was okay to run this. I have no idea who this is. Now, David Binder Research, this guy does a deep dive into who this is. And he eventually ends up and says, in 2008, Link serves as the deputy director for paid media and research for the Obama for America campaign. Now, do I look at it as an us and them? Yes, I do. And I do look at it as Obama made sure Tom Perez got put into the position, meaning push Tom Perez to get into the race, as opposed to Keith Ellison, meaning he's an active participant in doing something that is to adversely or to the detriment of the things that I want politically. Meaning, I don't trust this poll. That's where I am. I'm sorry. If you have trust in this guy. Not to mention, this poll is an outlier. So, I go to the other polls. Now, mainstream media may use this poll greatly, but for all intents and purposes, mainstream media love the idea that Sanders has 9% and Buttigieg is at 12%. I don't buy this shit at all. However, Iowa Democratic Caucus post-debate poll. Warren, 24%. She gets a bump. Biden, 16%. That has to be a drop. Sanders, 16%. This is Iowa State University poll. Now, if I'm being fair, I don't know the entire methodology of the Iowa State University poll. But I haven't seen anybody take the piss out of it. So, and again, all of these polls to me are less absolutes, if that makes sense. I look at these things as moving targets. They're transient. I look at the trends more than anything for one specific poll, if that makes sense. However, I do get a bit of joy when Sanders is higher. I won't lie. Fox News poll. Now, this one is for national post-debate poll. Joe Biden, 29%. Sanders, 18%. Now, if you look at the previous month, in August, Biden was at 31%. Sanders was at 10%, meaning Biden went down 2 points. Sanders went up 8 points. Warren went down 4 points. This was after that last debate. I want you to see something really interesting in this. Wait, when we get to right. All right, so 2 points. So the first one. Now, this is a weird fucking question. If Biden and Elizabeth Warren were the only choices, that's nonsense. I don't even know why you had asked that. Now, supporting the candidate you like the most, or supporting the candidate who has the best chance of beating Donald Trump. Now, 31%, the candidate we like the most, candidate beating Donald Trump. Now, back in March, 36% was supporting the candidate you like the most, meaning this number has shifted by 5 points in favor of, am I saying that right? 31% support the candidate. Oh, I'm sorry. It shifted more in the sphere of beating Trump. Okay, I misunderstood. All right. So this one says more. We want to beat Trump. We want to beat Trump. These numbers are relatively the same, but it shifts us a little bit. All right. But look at this one. Voting for a candidate who would build on Obama's legacy, 43%. Voting for a candidate who would take a new and different approach, 49%. This number moved in the direction of we want something different. We want something different. It was 47, it's gone to 49. It's only 2 points, not much. Here's another one. Right here, look at this. Voted for a candidate who will restore the political system to the way it was before Trump, 46%. Voting for a candidate who will fundamentally change how the political system works in Washington. Essentially, fundamentally change how things are done. And that gets more. That gets 50%. Now, the weird part is, to me, that this, supporting a candidate you would most like the most versus one beating Trump, we want a guy who will beat Trump by like 20 points. By the same token, we also want someone who will fundamentally change the system in Washington. All right. Now, the question becomes, who fits both of those criteria? Because up to this point, we've been told that that guy is Joe Biden, and Joe Biden in no way is going to fundamentally change the system in Washington. Isn't that an interesting clip? Like, if the argument in Washington is that Sanders is unelectable, if that's their argument, all right, and it's unelectable because he's too radical, all right, and you ask people, you want somebody who could beat Trump? Yes, definitely, right here. That's what we want. But then those same people say, we want somebody who will fundamentally change the political system, the way that system works in Washington. It's only one guy. It's only one guy. Now, I would argue that you can get the best of both worlds by just choosing that guy. For the longest time, lefties, people who trend to the left of the political spectrum, have been told you have nowhere else to go. And the furthest you can ever go in the political sphere is us. Wherever we are, meaning the Democratic Party, wherever the establishment of the Democratic Party is, that's as far as you can go. Don't think about going further. Bow your head, get back on the fucking car. Shut up about that lefty stuff. We have to make these compromises in order to get from point A to point B. If you want to win, we're the adults in the room. You need to sit the fuck down. This is how you do politics. Compromising, incrementalism, taking a bunch of money, doing foreign policy in ways. Markets over human beings. That's how you do politics. Fuck the unions. Get the blacks and Hispanics to be dependent on you and terrified of the Republican Party. That way you can essentially be in office without any tethers. Get people like Cedar to go out and browbeat people who didn't vote for you. That's what you do. That's how you do politics. And when you fail miserably, blame the Russians. That's how politics is done. That's how politics is done. People say they don't want that. By majority, they say, we're sick of politics being done that way. We want somebody who will fundamentally change the political system. And I strongly suspect that jump of 8 points has something to do with that. This guy changes the political system. And not just that, I would wager to you that those people also would say, well, we also think he's electable because Joe Biden is losing his fucking mind. Meaning, supporting the candidate that has best chance of beating Trump, for many of the people who are probably voting in this, don't conflict. I hope you understand what I mean. Sanders' rise to this was because in the minds of various people, especially over the course of these last 3 debates, he's ticked 2 boxes that are vitally important to the people who are voting in this race. We want somebody who would fundamentally change the political system in Washington. We don't want to go back to base a status quo. We want something else. By the same token, we want somebody who could beat Trump. If you could tick both boxes, we'll love you to death. Because those 2 things, from the standpoint of Washington, conflict. From the standpoint of reality, don't. By any measure, they don't. Joe Biden is losing his mind. I mean, come on. He's out there saying that he's going to put 720 billion women in the workplace. There are only 320 million people in this country. And I have to be honest, I don't even know what number he was shooting for, because that number is so astronomical, and I don't even know how that number could be shortened to where it's just a verbal typo. Like, he's leaking a gasket. He's leaking a gasket. He's not going to make it. He's not going to make it. The trend here, however, is positive. In fact, look at this. 13%, 15%, 10%, 18%. Why? Because he had a debate where he pounced every opportunity he had Joe Biden. I wish he did more. I wish he hit him harder, but he hit him nonetheless. And it was positive, especially on this notion of Medicare for all and paying off college loans. He'll catch him. He's close. My issue, honestly, my honest concern is Warren. She fucking bothers me. And you know what? I'm probably going to do a video on that. Because my issue, it's like the guy opens a space and you just stand beside him. Is it an SNL clip where the guy would just be somewhere and somebody would just kind of silently walk up to him and get credit for something that this other guy wasn't even here for? That's kind of what Warren is. She's the person who silently just stands by the other person and takes credit for what this guy did. It's like, oh, they hated Bernie Sanders' policies, but now that Warren is aping them, they love them. It's amazing. It's aggravating to watch that. And it also makes me question the sincerity of Warren in this process. If mainstream media loves her that much, if corporate America loves her as the person who could stop Sanders, if the Democratic Party loves her that much and she's been that obsequious to them, why do you ever think you're going to get any radical change out of Warren? She is the safe candidate that they are looking to essentially stop Sanders, or to split the vote enough where they can shaft him in the second round. I wouldn't be shocked if Warren was in that race for that very specific function. Call me conspiratorial, just saying. The party said they could cheat a candidate in the open if they wanted. All right. I'll leave it here. 12 minutes is not a horrible thing. Biden is in first place. I don't know how to make the argument to African Americans. Like, it's aggravating to me. And I get it to some degree, because I've had conversations with people like this, and in their heads, Biden is the one that we can sell to the public. We don't believe we can get Sanders. And it becomes less about what can you get out of a candidate and more about, we just think he's more electable. We think he can sell them to the public. I don't know if they see the breakdowns. I don't think they see, the gasket that's missing in his head at this point. He's not going to make it. And I honestly don't think he can beat Trump, which means a vote for Biden is a vote for Trump. And I say that over and over and over again. And I pray that one or two people will hear me say that and say, holy shit, that guy's right. Biden is losing his fucking mind. He's losing his mind. And not just losing his mind. You have the opportunity to get something different. For the first time in your life, it's almost like we've been so conditioned to not want more that when you get the opportunity to do it, you don't do it. There's Carter G. Woodson's Miseducation of the Negro. He has this line that, I remember this line going all the way back to like 30 years. But he made this point that if you show a man to the back door enough times, that man seeks that back door out. And he gets a little bit pissed off when that back door is not made available to him, even if you're showing him the front door. It's like he doesn't recognize it. It's kind of how this is. Lefties have been hit over the head for so long on this notion of what is possible, what is likely, what you can get, what you can do as a group when you're kind of unified in a particular vision. That now you have the opportunity to do it. It's like, yeah, I think we need to choose. Let's go with Biden. Let's go with him. That's the guy. That's the guy. That's not the guy. That's not the guy. That's not the guy. All right. Like, share, subscribe.